Are you going to start us? Because I'm going to interrupt you as soon as you do.
You just did.
Okay, go ahead, Ned. Start.
Welcome, Smutters, to the Sibs Read Smut Podcast. I'm Helen.
I'm Ned. Oh, my God.
Jump on your hog, shove yourself into those leather pants, and spritz your Axe body spray. It's smut time.
You love Axe body spray. For the record, I'm going to tell everybody about you in high school.
Yeah, used to. This is a podcast where we read, rate, review, and tell jokes, all while discussing our favorite dirty romance books. Romance books. Say it three times and maybe it'll stick. Romance. If you're liking our brand of bullshit, go ahead and smash that like, rate, subscribe button. Every little bit helps. If you have book suggestions and or questions, reach out on the socials at Sibs Read Smut on Insta and the TikToks, or email us at sibsreadsmut@gmail.com. That wasn't showing up on camera, Helen. There you go. The smallest violin, or is that supposed to be a heart?
It's a heart, I think.
Oh.
If we're talking TikTok, I'm doing all my talks.
All your gang signs.
Yeah.
Also, as we've been saying the last couple of weeks, support your local library, Smutters. We love them. So should you. We read most of our books from the libraries. So please, show your support for these lovely people that supply so much joy to us.
Go put them all on hold.
On today's podcast, we will be discussing Baby and the Late Night Howlers by Kathryn Moon. This was a first read for both of us, and not short. It was a pretty long one. Spoiler alert, we will be talking about these books in full, beginnings, endings, twists, all fair game.
And
if you
knots.
haven't read the book, and knots.
Get it?
and harems. This is a long one, maybe test the waters, and it's a Omegaverse, which is something that we have. I've read it.
Really?
What's the Ali Hazelwood Bride series is technically Omegaverse as well.
Oh.
But they are shifters. They're vampires and werewolves in that. This is they're actually people.
Alleys. This is.
But we'll get into that. We'll get into that real quick here. Helen, I believe you have a brief summary of the book for us. Why don't you hit it?
I sure do. You're welcome, everyone. All right, Baby and the Late Night Howlers by Kathryn Moon. Baby, her actual name, her given name, not her romance novel nickname. Baby is a late bloomer, but newly realized Omega, not a sorority, whose smelly stank is bringing all the boys to the yard. Baby falls for the bad boy Howlers Motorcycle Club, full of alphas ready to mate her up, and a couple betas, which I'm putting all the pieces together. The MC has issues of its own, but they need Baby in their lives because nobody puts Baby in a corner.
God damn it, Helen.
I needed to. A rival MC got one whiff of Baby's scent, and now that MC, who are they? The
hangman. The hangman MC.
Now the hangmen want her for themselves. Drama ensues. The Howlers must provide and protect Baby while she is in heat. and Baby needs to fit all of their wangs and knots inside her. Not all at once, but sometimes back to back. Lots of characters come together. Lots of characters come together. I see what you did there. In this Why Choose Reverse Harem Bone Fest.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that lovely description. Who was supposed to write this? Me? Ned wrote it.
Shocking.
I know. I never had time.
Well, right off the bat, the cover watch. It's it's a woman standing by a motorcycle.
Because she's a cartoon, technically, right?
Yeah, I think it's animated of some kind.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, but it didn't give me. It didn't explain to me what I thought this book was when I first started reading it. With all the sniffing and smelling, and there's too many instances of smelling to even count.
This is it's like you wrote this book with your brain.
but I thought that they were werewolves for like the first like 6 chapters, and because they always were talking about sniffing scents and smells and alphas and betas and
perfuming everywhere.
Yeah,
whenever she got horny, everyone could smell it.
Yeah, well, and she was in bed presenting, like her butt, her hindquarters up and whatever.
Yeah,
it was. I thought that they were. I thought that for the first like 2 or 3 chapters, I thought that they were, werewolves and can convert. So I thought the cover when I first looked at it was like, well, it's not really explaining to me what's going on, because if there's werewolves, you'd expect there to be some kind of werewolf in the background, or something denoting that there will be transformations in here. And it turned out that was wrong. So it made sense that it wasn't on the cover.
In this Omegaverse, she went from a beta, which are just the regular humans, to an
normies.
Omega. Normies.
Yeah, but she didn't like turn into a wolf. It's not like she actually
turned into an Omega. So you usually you stay.
But she's still a human woman.
Yeah, but she turned into she had a heat, and she bonded with people. Have you read? First of all, I don't want to move on from the sniffing yet, because the way that people can just smell her when she's horny and shit is I listen to these books while I'm commuting often. And today there was this crazy storm, and I was trying to finish this book on my way home from work, and there was a storm, and the train it was held for high winds. We were on the train for 2 hours. It's supposed to be a 25-minute thing, and I was trying to crush this book, and just the uncomfortable moment of listening to just absolute porn. And it was not even normally you're just you're either sitting in a seat by yourself or there's somebody sitting with you. This car was packed. There was people standing over me. Their backpack was right on my face. Thank God I got a seat to sit for 2 hours because it was miserable. And just plowing through porn in my ears. And all I could think about was baby doesn't want people to she can't help it. She just sees a handsome guy, and her perfume floods the room.
Her stank comes out.
Stank, and I was man, God, one person farted on the train for thank God it was only one. It was not me. I would admit it, but I was oh, the smell of that, and you don't want to be ew, because they who smelt it dealt it. Anyway, this train ride was a real pivotal moment in my life. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Welcome to your TED Talk.
Thank you for coming to my TED
Talk. But yeah, I mean, the
smelling, the smells.
So the cover ends up accurately portraying what actually happened. Or was the part of the book, but I was confused, and so I didn't think it did, and then I'm like, okay, fine, it was okay. What'd you think?
You're admitting that you were just confused the whole time. I did have to start this book 3 times. I didn't get it, and then I had to. I asked our intern to explain it to me like I was 5. That was the prompt, and it was actually fair. Although no 5-year-old should ever read this book. This is not appropriate for anybody really under 25, but that was very helpful for me to understand that there's a whole series of books, there's a whole universe, this Omegaverse, where there's the alphas, the omegas, and then the betas, and they have these worlds, right?
Yeah. Well, and so this story involves Baby, real name, as Helen mentioned in the summary. Ugh. And she is 25, and she just found out that she's an Omega. And it's something
bloomer.
That usually people know this from birth and whatever else, and there's
or it's in their family, they're expecting it.
Yeah,
they
and
can prepare.
And she is not. So she goes out with a friend of hers to a pretty rough biker bar, and she's perfuming all over the place, and finally a nice guy helps her out and gets her out of there without anybody accosting her, because anyone who's an alpha can smell her. And he gets her out of there and takes her to the Omega Society, which matches up Omegas with their
Groups.
packs.
They're packs.
They're packs. And so she liked the beta that got her out of there. This his name was I have a list of all the guys.
I was going to say, I ended up looking up like a cheat sheet because then they have real names and they have biker names. And they just willy-nilly back and forth. So there's like 20
That
names,
was very confusing.
10 guys.
Seth / Bomber was the guy that got her
Was
out
the one
of
from the bar. Okay.
Yeah, that got her out of there. But also, it was not only do the bikers have their motorcycle club names and their real names, they also each have a different nickname for her. So she is called by I have a list of nicknames for her in here too. So Seth Bomber calls her Precious, Jonah Scorch calls her Baby Girl, Dusty calls her Cub, Bullet calls her Kitten, Tornado calls her Love, and I'm sure I missed one or two other ones in there too. So keeping track of just even her names was confusing. And then we have there's Dusty, there's Ryan / Green, there's Mackenzie / Book, Sanjay Tornado, Quincy is Bullet, then Scorch is Jonah, and Seth is Bomber. Those are the main guys that make up her pack and the alphas that will mate her at some point during this whole experience that she's having. But she goes to this Omega Society and finds the scent that she liked off of the Seth guy, and picks out a couple other ones where she's like, oh, maybe I could be matched with these guys, and some of them are rich and some of them are not, and it ends up being that the pack that she had, the smells that she liked the most, were actually a motorcycle gang, a biker gang. And she's like, oh, it's kind of, the place is kind of run down, but I kind of dig it. And they're like, oh, she's like, I'll try it out. And the problem is she's going into her first heat like almost immediately. Yeah. So she only has a couple of days to think about it before she's thrust into their world. Thrust into her world. And it was kind of crazy because she, is fish out of water. She's learning about this whole Omega thing the same way we are. Yeah. I kept comparing it to, because of the knots and everything else, to Bull Moon Rising, and I think that world, Bull Moon Rising, even with all of the fairy tale characters and everything else in it, was so much better. The groundwork was so much better laid than this. Built. Yeah, and this world, you're kind of thrust in it with her, and it's a fire hose of information to get what an Omegaverse is, what an Omega is, what the alphas are, all the scent profiles, trying to figure out her names. It was information overload to get into the book. Once they actually get together with after she finally gets together with the guys and like moves in with them, they start having more contact one-on-one, which I liked a lot more. And a couple of them, tag teamer and whatever else. But
for the main guy, Scorch Jonah.
Jonah, yeah.
He is also dating Bomber.
Seth Bomber.
/ Seth. Yes. So they also have like an existing relationship that continues. Like that's not like she comes in and gets to know these guys. Some of them have like other girlfriends, I think.
Chef. Emmy is Chef's girlfriend. Yeah. A lot of the guys have sweet. I thought they were calling them sweet meats, but they were actually calling them sweet butts. Is the local hanger-on girls that just sleep with the dudes, and that was one thing about Baby too. Was since she's not been brought up as an Omega, she has lived 25 years on her own, doing what she wanted to, and having an attitude, and having her own thoughts and feelings about stuff. So she wakes up one day when she first moves in, and the guys are trying to hustle out all of the local women that they've had living with them, and they're kicking them all out, and the women are obviously distraught. And Baby goes, "What the hell are you guys doing?" They're like, "Oh, well, we didn't think you'd want these girls here." And she goes, "No, absolutely, they're staying.
Yeah.
Move them back in." And it was that was a good moment. I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of
stood up for herself.
She stood up for herself, and she was very I liked that she was a very strong female character. I liked essentially that she was like a late bloomer to this Omegaverse, because it seemed like Omegas came in to either like be really controlling, or like Omegas were known to be like they need all the attention on themselves. And I think when you're born with knowing that, maybe you become that way. But again, she thought she was going to be a beta for the rest of her life. So then she has all this sympathy for the other betas and other people in this world. So I really liked that. I liked her as a character, and I think a lot of like the reviews and stuff that I was reading of this book too said that she was like a head bitch in charge. She was sassy. She held her own with these biker guys, and so she's a well loved Omega. And then she actually has a best friend from her beta life, Lola, who plays a character who plays an important part in this.
Well, and she's book two yes. and 3. So she's there's a Lola part 1 and part 2. So she's books 2 and 3 in this Omegaverse series, and she she was she was kind of a shitty friend, all things considered. She stole Baby's scent and went off to get plowed by these bikers, and then got involved in a sketchy situation. And even at the end of the book, she's still all, bummed out that she's not going to be an Omega, and she's kind of butthurt that Baby got this and she didn't. I was kind of like, yeah, that wasn't great. Yeah. But she brings the other, motorcycle club, the Hangmen, into Baby's orbit, and and pretty much creates the entire drama of the book, which is.
Does she do that on purpose?
No, I think she
I don't
just
think
went
it's
out.
Intentional. Yeah, she just.
No, she went out with her sweater to the bar where she had gone before, where the Hangmen were, and then they got a scent for her and tracked her down through Lola and the sweatshirt that was perfuming with her, puss juice.
Her musk.
Yeah. But, the whole impetus of this, not impetus, but the whole story is Lola brings these guys around. They want Baby. The guys are trying to be, the Howlers are trying to be respectful of Baby, and so they're not marking her and mating her up yet, and biting her to claim her. And so technically she's a free agent, and the Hangman at Motorcycle Club wants her. So they start fucking with the Howlers and all of their crew and everything else, breaking bikes, kidnapping, other betas, in their orbit, and eventually kidnap Baby. And one of the guys in the Howlers organization, Cole, used to be a hangman, and he then turns turncoat and becomes a spy.
Did they know that? Like, did the Howlers know that Cole was a hangman?
Yes.
They did know that. Okay. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, he came over. Because I know that he's the bad guy, the villain in all of this, Cole. Which you kind of you get a sense of in the beginning, because she's like, I don't know why I'm not connecting with him. He gives me icky feelings. So you can kind of see that one coming, that he ends up
and he ended up trying to force himself on her at one point too, and she kind of fights him off. It was always just given the ick, and he was always just kind of a scumbag. Yeah. And his half brother was Buzz, who was the president of the Hangman MC. So it was his half brother that was over there too. So he tells the bad guys where they're hiding out, because her pack gets her out of town to kind of keep her away from the danger.
They take her randomly. One of the guys has a mansion that he inherited, 11 hours away, and they just go up there, and it's their little mating hideaway nest.
But yeah, bang it out for a week. But just to get to the end of the story is she is taught by various guys throughout her courting process how to fight, how to shoot guns, how to do all this other kind of stuff, and so she saves herself. She kills the two main bad guys and saves her and Emmy, the other girl that was kidnapped, and pretty much just goes. The guys show up and go, "Oh, good, you're okay." Like,
yeah,
it was.
They don't have to do anything.
It was pretty funny, and then there's other intricacies. I mean, there's so many guys that you can't talk. There's too many little side stories and everything else because every guy has their own moments with her, of showing her how to work on cars, or taking her on a motorcycle ride, or teaching her how to shoot, or how to when a guy grows weed and shows her the plant stuff, and there's so much going on that I didn't get to feel like you got to know all the characters terribly well, but I did have my favorites of them.
Okay, tell me.
Bullet, the security guy was one of my favorites.
Okay.
I liked Sanjay Tornado. He was the PTSD veteran guy.
Yeah.
I thought he had some depth and some backstory to him. I liked Seth Bomber, the beta, who was part of their world.
Too.
And mainly I just didn't care for really was Jonah Scorch. Scorcher was the only guy that I was kind of like, yeah, all right. He's kind of blah. Well, and he's also the one that's like, we need to take our time with her. We need to, and not really giving her a choice in the matter. And he's making her feel unwanted while he's trying to make sure that he doesn't get left. And it was just a messy sort of, have the conversation, you dickhole, and be done with it.
No. He annoyed me because he kept lingering, and then it became part of the issue. So, and you have not read a Court of Thorns and Roses, right?
No, I've not read ACOTAR.
So, ACOTAR. So when they bond, like when they have a bond in ACOTAR, they can like talk through the bond. So like when in this book, when they actually bit her and created a bond, they could like feel and kind of communicate. I mean, they could, like in ACOTAR, they can like just speak, like have like a phone conversation through their bond. But in this one, like they can hear it. And so Jonah is like refusing to bite her and bond her through the whole thing. And then like 4 of the other guys do towards the end. And so Jonah's the last one who doesn't. So when she ends up getting kidnapped, I don't know how many guys she had been bonded with at that, maybe 2.
3 at that point, I think.
And so like they knew that she was kidnapped because they could feel it through the bond. And so like Jonah, who's the head of the motorcycle club and is like, no, we want to make sure that she really wants us. And I don't know what his deal was, if he like had a negative experience when he was a kid or whatever. But like he just was so against like biting her, and so he missed out. Then he like had no idea that their Omega was even in danger because he refused to bite. He annoyed the shit out of me. I did not like Jonah. I just, that whole thing. And so I really liked I think Ryan Green was the first. Green/Ryan was the first one to bite her, if I'm remembering.
Yeah, well, and he went to he went to the rest of the guys because Jonah had gone back to their their bar where they work out of, and so he was not there when Ryan did this. But he said, "Listen, he's the president of the motorcycle club. He's not the president of our pack."
Yeah.
We are a pack. We are all alphas in the pack. We can do whatever the fuck we want to do in the pack. He is the president of the motorcycle club and is the boss of that, but he's not the boss of this relationship here. And so he bit her when Baby asked. Ryan Green did, and then 2 other guys, a couple chapters later did the same thing at her request, but also they waited until the heat was done because in the middle of the heat, and that was his big thing at the beginning was.
Yeah.
She's in heat and she's going to ask for things that she doesn't want. And even the Omega Society told them, like, she's not going to be in her right mind. She's gonna ask for things while she's getting wants 18 days of railroading. That is that's going to be crazy. Well, and
how often does she go into heat? Did you catch that? Like, does she have one heat in her life, or does she have a heat once a year?
No, it was as far as I could tell, the epilogue of the book was, I want to say, 3 or 4 months later. And she was about to go into heat again. So maybe it's twice a year, or maybe it's I don't know how often, but it seemed like a once a quarter type thing. You got 5 days of railroading. It was. It was interesting because at the end of the day, there was a lot of sex chapters in this. There were 17 sex scenes, and they were all intricate and pretty long, and pretty detailed. We'll get into them very shortly, but it was not as dirty as I thought it was going to be. With because with the nodding and stuff like that from. Bull Moon Rising, he was just rivers of cum, shooting onto her or whatever else. And these guys are just normal dude comes, not like unicorn comes.
And then, I had a friend tell me, I have a couple friends, shout out Sarah, and she told me, 2 years ago, she was like, Helen, I know that you love reading smut. There is a whole other level of smut out there that you haven't even gotten into yet. And she was describing a lot of this. She was like, the knot goes into the woman and then it expands and then she can't move and she's stuck. And I just remember sitting at this brunch with Sarah, and she's telling me about this, the world in which these women are being knotted on these huge dong shapes, and I was so in shock by it. And so I think I went into this book really maybe I'd built it up in my head from that brunch 2 years ago, but I really was expecting, and we'll talk about all the sex scenes right now, but coming up. But yeah, they were kind of generic human sex scenes with occasionally they would not, and she'd get stuck for a little bit.
The general sex was just when I thought that they were going to shift into werewolves and whatever else, I was like, oh, this is going to be potentially kind of super dirty or whatever. And it was just kind of standard fare. There was some menage a trois. There was some
finger in the butt.
Yeah, little finger in the butt. Some DP action towards the end.
Yeah.
There was and it was spicy. I mean, it was intricate.
Are we desensitized by the amount of smut that we read? Is this I feel
probably
this could be really shocking, maybe for other people, and we're over here finger in the butt, whatever. His knots got stuck inside of her for an hour. Okay, no big deal.
Well, I mean, I think that the fact that she's having sex with 8 dudes, and part of your shockedness of
what is the shocker?
Hockey's,
is it?
Yeah, 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
Is that it? That's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
good. You're going back to your college this weekend.
I do the live long and prosper. The 2 in the pink, 2 in the stink.
Okay, that's not kosher always. All right, you got to really ask first.
Consent. But I think that what was it? The hockey smut book.
The Deal.
No,
Which
one
hockey smut book, Ned? We've read 10 hockey smut
books. The one that you were so shocked by. Pucking Around.
Pucking Around.
I think
our peak smut.
Well, I think that was so shocking for you because there were four people, and it was kind of like these, just marathon sex scenes and the semen swapping, which you'll never forget. But I mean, this is on par with that. I mean, she has 8 different dudes. They all get their own specialty sex scene in multiple scenes. More than 2 people are partaking, and it was. I would put it on the spicy plus meter. I mean, before we dive into all the sex scenes, but I mean,
I will allow it to be spicy. I will even allow it to be spicy plus, so long as we are agreeing that pucking around is its own echelon. I refuse to put anything on level with pucking around.
Still, to this day.
I don't think that this, because I was an avid romance reader before pucking around. I feel like, yes, I'm totally desensitized, but for someone who is desensitized, pucking around still blew up my bloomers. That was a real sensation to me. So I will allow this book to be spicy plus if you allow pucking around to be its own level.
No, I'm gonna make it spicy then.
Then this is just spicy.
Yeah, this will just be straight spicy.
Okay, spicy. I'll allow it. Just due to the volume.
Yeah, the volume alone and the intricacy. It was another one of these action scene type. And there was some action in this book too. So we saw her write an action scene or two in here, some fighting scenes and stuff like that. So it was like, she can write action and she can write sex. And on that note, of the 17 names, the 13% in, pretty early first, and that was just dudes being dudes. It's Bomber and Scorch fool around while they're trying to figure out how they can get it get Baby to work with their motorcycle club, and it's pretty graphic, oral extravaganza, face fucking. It's a pretty long scene, and they're also mid session just talking about MC business. And for those that don't know, MC means motorcycle club. So we don't need to say it out the whole time.
Hammer. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
One and the same. Yeah.
And Scorcher just swallows him all down, which he loved, and they kind of took turns going back and forth with the who's on top. 17% in is the first kiss with Seth and Seth Bomber, and she kind of comes in and moves into his apartment in the Howlers kind of clubhouse and just gives him a big old smooch. And I thought, okay, that's a reasonably paced first kiss. And then 20% in is the first legitimate
boning
steamy scene. 20% Eiffel Tower tango. Baby's first kiss with Jonah Scorch, pretty spicy, dry humping. They're lots of fingering her. She's super hungry for it.
She's going into heat.
Yeah, and she can't go fully into heat until she's comfortable, and she's not that comfortable at their clubhouse yet. So the real heat, the 5-day sexathon doesn't really start until they get to this mansion later in the story. But lots of mouth sexing, and they're trying to just warm her up and take care of her because she's insatiable, during this time. And then 24% Morning Glory, Hallelujah. Ryan Green finger blasts her with some boob play first, and creams his sleep shorts. He's rougher than Scorch, and they all have their own peccadillos in bed, which is
somebody thought
one guy
that
liked
Ryan
to chase
was
her.
Older. That Ryan Green was older than the rest. Not an old man, but mature.
Ryan. Yeah, I think one of the Ryan Green older than the others and Asian apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the description I have in my notes. Okay. And
that's nice.
He also wants.
I love that.
Yeah, he also I think he wants to show her off to the rest of the crew and get her introduced because she's been in the apartment for a lot of this, whatever. And he takes her downstairs with his scent all over her to like introduce her around, so all the other alphas are get jelly about this. But you know, for all that being said, and the universe being set up the way it is, nobody had an issue with anybody else in this, like banging around with her. It was all up to her who she invited into her bed and when. And she, you know, none of the guys got jealous of each other. It was kind of pack rules, you know. Whatever's good, whatever she wants is what the pack wants, sort of thing. And you know, where there wasn't any kind of it's my turn now sort of thing going on, which was a nice kind of change from having, you know, these love triangles and whatever else. But it's also such a foreign like idea to me that I'm kind of like, well, I wish a little bit of that would have, I think, made it a little more relatable to me. Of like some jealousness, or you know, like stop playing with my toys, you know, like sort of thing.
But I think that's this whole world. Like the world is just, it is. I think to your point, it's much more realistic in a real world that like if you and I ran across a reverse harem in like our neighbor's house growing up, like that would be fucking weird. But like in this sweet verse or whatever they call it, like. This is how it operates. Like they just create these found families, which is one of the themes, I think.
Yeah.
And that they all become a pack.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and pretty much every 5% of the book it is another sex scene. 31% bullet riddled clit. Bullet just nibbles on her, and there's a lot of like. Clit to slit talk, you know, throughout the entire book. Okay. It's like, oh man. And then he gives her a pearl necklace and then makes her he washes it up with no soap so that all the guys get to scent it on her downstairs.
Ew.
And it's like, there's a lot of like, I want to show you off with my scent on you sort of stuff. And it's like, oof. And then 37% scrub her down. They put her in the bath, and Tornado and Book, intimately wash her hair, and then tease her in the tub and some lazy finger blasting and stuff. Dense syrupy sweetness, oof, is what he calls her vagina after he starts eating her out.
What apparently does he call
it? Dense and syrupy sweetness. And and they all have different smells. So one guy smells like roses, and one guy smells like cake batter or something. It's very, very weird. And I'm like, that sounds a little.
Lip gloss.
So it sounds a little yeasty, you know. That's not what you want your vagina to smell like, a yeasty concoction.
My vagina has risen.
Yeah, baking a loaf downstairs. The 42% bombs away. Scorcher and Bomber finally knot her for the first time.
I was less impressed with that. I think my point earlier, I thought the knotting was going to be this big, like, ripped her apart, and it was so normal. Like he just got a big knot at the end of his penis, and she got stuck for a while. And then she cried. Yeah. Oh, the first one she cried, but that was because it was Jonah, I think, and he was like, was it Jonah? I forget who knotted her first. And he tried to reject her afterwards. He was like, okay, that's enough. And he was like trying to pull away, and she started just like sobbing. And he was like, what? I did something wrong. And then whoever else was in the room, this made me laugh, called someone else and was like, she's crying. And they were like, what did Jonah say? And Jonah was like, this is what I said. And then they were like, you need to tell her that you love her and that you're not going to leave or something. And like,
they perceived him not biting her as a rejection of the biting mark, instead of saying, I want to mark you, just now is not the right time. And then she direct quote from Baby during this is, this shit is whack. she's like all these feelings and having these animalistic, you know, emotions. Yeah, it's whack. 44% Scorcher, scorched earth policy. Round 2, after she's less emotional, they bone her around for like 2 days, Bomber, Scorch, and Baby. And then 47% Boom Boom Fight Club. Cole gets her all hot and heavy, you know, after a fight session, and just like tries to almost force her in the gym.
We don't like
and she
him.
like fights him off, and she's
many-
unsure about his energy.
How many total sex scenes are in this? Like you said, it's every 5%.
17.
17. Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, I
Did you
mean,
name them
yeah.
all?
Yeah, Dr. Green Knot, Top Shelf Dick, Make You Wet with History, Hoser Down, Booking It to Bone Town, Bon Vaggie instead of Bon Voyage, Bon Vaggie, Baby is What's for Dinner, Tornado Typhoon, Blood in the Water, which is actually that's after she shoots the two guys and she's covered in blood.
Nothing to do with the period.
Yeah, he washes
control.
her hair.
Yeah.
For this first one. And then Devil, the 98% is the Devil's Three-Way. Scorcher, Bomber, and Baby finally butt stuff, and the Jonah finally bites her bites her shoulder or whatever. And it's it was a lot. There was a lot going on in here, and just like with and any one of these guys could have their own book with her. And it was a lot of people to try and keep track of. I think some of the backstories were better and more well defined than others. I think Jonah did not have, for him to be such a enormous vagina about the entire, I want you to take your time. I don't want to get left. I don't feel like we knew enough about his history to have him to be on his side when it comes to his kind of delaying tactics of being with Baby. And it is what it is. But intern Chaz put together some discussion questions for this. And did Baby's journey feel more like a romance or a coming of age story? And I was like, her changing into an Omega and learning about this brand new world is a coming of age story. It is her.
She's coming.
It is her learning and being, kind of driven into a brand new age of life. So I don't know. What
could
do you
be
have
both.
any opinion? It could be both.
I don't think it has to. I think I would say a little bit of both. I do. There is like a whole story, thread through the whole book, basically. Again, of her not knowing at the very beginning, she's a delayed or a late bloomer, and then she meets somebody at the like Omega Center who is like a mentor to her, kind of, who like gives her a lot of information, and then she comes back later in the book, and so there's it was interesting to feel her, to like see her journey and feel her like changing throughout it. But also I feel like she was pretty secure in who she was as well, like to the point of like a lot of the reviewers were saying that like she's a boss bitch. Like she knows what she wants. She's not in here acting like an Omega that they like a stereotypical Omega. She is going to be friends with the other women that are involved with the pack. Like she's there. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, kind of a little bit of coming of age, but also not.
And it is a romance, but also it's not your traditional romance in any stretch of the imagination either, because it's in this Omegaverse where the rules of all this stuff are completely different. I mean, she auditioned 3 different sets of guys. It's a completely different scenario than anything else. The next question is, did the multiple love interest dynamic feel balanced, or did you have any clear favorites? And I was like, I think we both have
clear favorites.
Biker guys that we like more than others. And I did it feel balanced? Kind of. I mean, she kind of split up the sex scenes, at least.
Yeah.
Pretty distinctly between the different sets of like 5 or 6 guys that she was kind of trading in and out. And at least the sex was balanced. Their backstories and how much like clarity we got into their characters, I don't think was as balanced as as that. I mean, there's just not enough time. It's a 13-hour book, and there's only so much that you can get through.
And honestly, I would have cut a couple hours out, at least 100 pages. I feel like the story could have been told more succinctly. But everyone sort of needed their moment, but also like.
But if you're going to cut, cut. I would say cut sex and put more, of the. Of
plot.
Well, the plot, but also, there's other things that, that you could have expounded upon between the strife between the motorcycle clubs and everything else that to me would have lended more context and allowed Baby to be a bigger part of the solution to that. She is the entire solution at the end of the day, but
a little more world building, maybe.
Yeah.
Instead of just.
I could have used a little bit more world building for sure. What makes Howlers different from other motorcycle club romances? I think I've only read one other motorcycle club romance.
What other have I read any? I don't know. I'd have to look.
I don't know. I
mean, I watched. What was there's like a motorcycle.
Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy. I watched that. That main character is real hot. I know you agree.
Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
He does too much head. He just do too much head tilting for my liking.
Oh, really?
He's of the tilting of the head acting school. I do like him though.
Yeah. No, he was great. That was a good one. I don't know if I've watched anything else really.
Why do you think this book became such a gateway title for so many, in this Omegaverse?
Omegaverse?
Yeah.
People love Lola's stories. Like you said, she's books 2 and 3. Those two are super highly rated on Goodreads, and people really stan those 2 books. And then they tend to read this one, which is the intro, after, according to what I've been reading online. And so I do feel like this was like opening the door to the world, and then the 2 Lola books are what really like allow the world to take off and probably gives us much more depth and what we're asking for with more like plot and world building. Those are probably answered in books 2 and 3. So yeah, I don't know, but this is like a very popular intro to the world of Omegaverse and how it all.
Yeah, well, because when I looked up Omegaverse, and the first thing that came up is that this is the gateway that a lot of people got into it.
Yeah.
But and there wasn't that many other examples of Omegaverse stuff. But Bride and Mate by Ali Hazelwood are both on that list, and I read Mate. Mate came out this year. I read early or late last year. And I read that a couple months ago, and I read Bride last year when it came out. And so that was kind of my introduction to this, which is why I was thinking, werewolves and vampires, because they are werewolves and vampires in that other book.
Yes.
So yeah, that was interesting. But what? Okay, so I also asked him, hey, what's some fun questions? Hey, Chaz, give us some fun questions to ask. So he goes, which Howler would absolutely dominate a family game night?
Oh, my God. Book.
Yeah.
Wasn't one called Book?
Yeah.
I guess family game night. That's more like a trivia. Family game night.
I mean, Ryan seems like a smart reading dude, too. Green Ryan, could probably be good in that regard as well.
Was Green the one who had a clean like room too? Because some of them had really like dirty rooms, and then one of them had like a very neat room.
No,
I read ahead. Oh, the next question that Chaz was going to ask is who would be the best roommate. And I didn't ask the question; I just answered it.
Yeah. He's his office was super clean because he was the plant guy. He was the plant guy.
Yeah.
So because she never went into his room at the like Dr. Green Thumb. Which character would survive the longest on a reality dating show? I don't know. There's green. Who's the greenest flag? Green energy. In the entire pack.
I think Ryan Green is my answer to all of these.
Seth.
Seth
Seth Bomber.
Jonah would be the super toxic one.
Yeah. Or he's the martyr. He's the martyr, which
he would
I don't
do well in any of these things.
Yeah. Which character would give the most chaotic group chat energy? These are the fun questions that Chaz came up with. But
that's a real question, because you really have to be thoughtful when you're creating a group chat. People who are going to, and I take a lot of pride. I'm going to have friends reach out to me about this statement, but I think that I am a great group chatter because I don't hammer text. Sometimes I just don't answer, which is probably people's biggest gripe about me in general.
Yeah.
But when I do answer, it's generally funny and on the nose.
Or delaying podcast recordings.
Okay, well, that is very specific to you and I, which is not a group chat. Two people's not a group. But in a larger group, I take a lot of pride. And I'm on my husband's family group chat, and there's 25 people on there. And I've said 3 things in the 10 years that I've been on this group chat. Well, I guess I've only been married in for 7, but one of them was today, and it got a lot of ha-has. People held it down and said, ha-ha.
There's 25 people on one group chat?
20.
That's
it's
fucking
the Thrall
crazy.
family chain. It's like the family chain.
Yuck.
It's like our cousins chain. The cousins, like the Donnelly cousins, there's 20 people on that.
Is there?
Or 19. Yeah, because it's all 10 cousins and then spouses.
Huh.
So there's 19 on there. We're waiting for Ned's spouse. Round us out to 20. Taking applications in the DMs.
Did you? We did get a comment on there the other day. Some guy. Oh, I can't find it. He was like something about immature and. I'm trying to find the notifications. I laughed because I wanted to go in there and thank him and be like, "Hey, thanks for watching." But
wait, on YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube. I can't find the comment section. But yeah, some guy posted a comment like, "These two are immature and don't know what they're talking about," or there's something like that. And I was like, "Yeah, thanks for watching, dickhead." Thanks for the views. But I did not say that. I was like, okay, maybe don't get in a flame war on YouTube. But
or do.
Yeah, or do. Get some hype.
Yeah.
Did you have any favorite or memorable scenes that you liked the most?
Probably just the end sequence when they mate whatever at the mansion, and then the other biker gang breaks in, and then they kidnap her, and she comes to, and yada yada. I liked that whole. It was kind of the action sequence.
Yeah.
I felt like that was the most, not gripping, but the part that I was most interested in listening to. What about you?
Well, and yeah, I mean the baby's badass rescue of herself and Emmy, was fun. It was well written, and it was unique because she needed help to get the cops there and whatever, but she saved herself and Emmy. She did not need the guys for anything to save herself. She killed 2 guys and jumped out a window and saved her and another girl. And the evil motorcycle club had been kidnapping women too, so they saved a whole bunch of other women at this compound where they are eventually found. And I like that. I like that sequence a lot. And then just one other little funny scene after the 5-day mating session. She wakes up and she's like, I'm stinky, I'm dirty, this room smells funky, whatever. And then the Omega Society goes, "We're coming to check on you to make sure that you're not being abused or whatever." Yes. And she opens the door to the nest, and the woman's like, "Woo!" Oh my God. And she starts perfuming a little bit because the sex odors are so crazy coming out of there. That made me laugh. That made me laugh. I think we're going spicy across the board on the Smutometer.
Would you recommend?
Would you recommend?
Yes, of course. I mean, there's really not a lot of books that I don't recommend. I would probably recommend some other things before this.
I put Lola. It's already on hold at the library, so
good.
in a month or two we'll get that book, and we can listen to it and compare and contrast books 1 and 2. But I'd say yeah. But also, if you're looking for a motorcycle club book, there's not too much motorcycle-y stuff in this.
Yeah.
They ride bikes a couple of times. The guys don't really have any action scenes at all. She does all of the actiony biker gang badass stuff. The guys, other than for sex, are ancillary to almost the entire story. So if you're looking for a crime book or whatever, this isn't. Yeah, this isn't that. But if the Omegaverse, I mean, it's I'd say Allie Hazelwood has more clearly defined world to it, because there are vampires and werewolves, and they have their own clans and country breakdown. Then I was confused about this a little bit, but yeah, I mean it was written well, and this sex was steamy. I'd recommend it. Do you have anything else that you read this week that you want to alert the audience to?
I've been waiting for you to bring this up.
Well, you didn't even wait for me to finish the question before you started stepping on top of me.
Everybody knows what's coming. Okay, I have several things I need to talk about and get out into the cultural zeitgeist of our world. Thank you for asking. I finished Yesteryear. Did you read it? It was on the library.
I've not yet.
Okay.
I have it.
Holy
it's still on there.
Shit. I don't. It's a real intersection of millennial.
Dad was like, blah.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna land with people who don't get it, who aren't aware of the conversation around this. I feel like it really, yeah. But Yesteryear with my friends has been the hot topic. My work friend marched me to Barbara's bookshop at work and made me purchase the hardback. So I finished it and I was obsessed. And I've now talked to a lot of people about it and listened to several podcasts about the ending. Very good. Highly recommend to you if you like it. Not you. I don't know. You may or may not like it. I'll be curious if you can figure it out.
You're saying a lot of yous in there. Saying it to you.
So I'm saying to use my girlfriends, my girly pops, my book clubbers, my gals. And then I'm saying to you, Ned, I don't know. I'll be curious if you can guess the ending. You need to read it because it's such a hot topic book right now. And Anne Hathaway bought the rights to make it into a movie before it was even released. So it'll be around. It's a hot conversation. And I just finished watching the Off Campus, which is The Deal, which we just talked about a few weeks ago, that made into a TV show, which we knew was coming. Damn. This is everywhere right now. Ned, have you watched yet? I told you to. Hannah's boobs.
No, I have not. Does she show them?
No, Hannah does not show her boobs, but the roommate, Allie, does. And they're very nice. And there are your favorite scene. Do you remember your favorite scene from The Deal? This is Hannah and Garrett's story, hockey romance.
No. Did I have that in there?
She marches into the locker room.
The penis conversation, the naming all the penis conventions and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to watch the show. They show everything. There's some dogs. There's some tits. Fantastic. And Garrett, the main character, is just so cute. So highly recommend that. And then tonight, I think on Prime as well, the Every Summer After just got released. I haven't watched it yet, but I am very excited to watch that show.
Is that that's a show, not a movie?
Yeah, I think so. It's a series.
Yeah. Well,
season 1.
I just read book 4 in Mountain Man Matchmaker, Bad Boy era, Amy Dawes, which was a good.
What is that?
It's these 3 brothers live on a mountain, and this is the 4th book. Their niece is, it's their grown niece. She's 22 or something.
Okay.
Comes back to the mountain after she matchmaked her 3 uncles. Now she gets her love story. So that's the 4th book in that series. Amy Dawes, pretty spicy. It's good, classic romance. Fever Dream by Elsie Silver, Emerald Lake Book 1. So all Elsie Silver's worlds are connected. So this is the story of Theo, who was the last book in the Chestnut Springs, series. Yeah. His sister and his enemy on the tour fall in love in Emerald Lake. So he and this guy Emmett, I think his name's Emmett, has like 4 brothers and sisters. So it's going to be a 4 or 5 book series for Emerald Lake, which it started off pretty good. I enjoyed it. And then, it's David Balducci, book 4 in his Will Roby series, The Guilty. A couple sci-fi books in there too.
You are such a nerd. Why do you read?
Did you end up reading The Last Astronaut?
What's that?
I think that was one of your books on the library. David Wellington.
No, not mine.
Yeah, it's set in a little bit in the future where an alien, some kind of alien ship is coming towards towards the world, and they have to go out there and see what it is, and just shit goes awry.
Oh no.
Yeah. It was okay. I think I gave it 3 stars. But do you know what we are reading next week?
Fuck no. I didn't even look. I should have, and I didn't.
Stand and Defend by Sloane St. James.
What?
Yeah.
What is that? I've never even heard of it.
It's on
Did I
our
pick it?
yes. I believe you did. But it is on our bolded, so neither of us have read this one before.
A new read for both of us.
This virginal reading for both of these.
Okay.
But we do have it on the library and now, but
okay.
You definitely picked this one, but I think it looks good. It's the 4th book in the Lakes hockey series. So
okay.
Another more hockey smut.
More hockey. Did I? Sorry. Well,
we had
like
2 baseball.
hockey.
We had 2 baseballs back to back. We had this will be what, our third hockey book, this season too. Gage, Heated Rivalry, that was the deal, and then Stand and Defend, and then we got Indigo Ridge coming up too, which I've read already, the Devney Perry, which I'd be interested to see what I
think of it. Yeah, I haven't read that one.
But I think any last comments, Smelly?
Yes, Ned is going to his college reunion this weekend. What is it, 20? Are you 20
years? 20 years.
I feel like this is just the prime setup for a romance novel.
on a short weekend in Dayton, Ohio?
Short weekend in Dayton, Ohio. You're going to go back and see your English teacher or your hot, sexy film professor that you loved secretly when you were in college, and now you're a grown man, and you're gonna come back, and she's gonna be like, "Oh my God, Ned!" And
she'll be in her 50s.
She'll be in her 50s, and it's gonna be a reverse harem. It'll be you and all your friends and this sexy film professor. You guys are all
Jesus Christ
getting down.
Next week on the podcast, we'll be listening to Stand and Defend by Sloane St. James. If you're liking our...
Shut up.
Yes. If you're liking our bullshit and generally us laughing at our own jokes, please hit that like, rate, review, subscribe. generally golden shower us with praise. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week, Smutters.
Stay smutty.
Stay smutty.